What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. So today's video, we're back working on the mini drift quad. So hopefully in today's video we can finally get this thing completely ready for paint at this point, because I'm tired of looking at it all in this rusty state and looking pretty ugly. And especially what we did on last week's video, where we actually ripped the engine off, as you might notice that there's no engine in there. Ripped the engine off and got that all painted up and looking fresh. So if you haven't seen that video, I suggest you go check it out. But since we got that looking fresh, we gotta have the chassis looking fresh too. And I've been waiting to do this, but this is actually gonna be kind of a big project because we gotta really tear down everything, sand a lot of stuff up, still finish up a few things. Like I know I need to slap a riv nut in the gas tank. I still need to get some mounts welded in for the seat here, so that's all solid. And then there's a few welds and stuff I want to clean up on the engine plate and still finish up a few welds on the bottom, just because it'd be a little bit easier to get to. But really, my goal tonight, I think today is currently Monday at like 8 o'clock, so I got a full week because I really want to have this thing completely ready to roll and driving on Memorial Day, which is a week from now. So we got a whole week to get this thing completely tore down, get her sanded up, get her prepped, and get her painted, and then hopefully put it all back together and rip it around on Memorial Day. That's my goal, have all the toys ready and take them all up for a family gathering. So I want to get to work on this thing and see what we can get done. So I want to try to get everything tore down as much as possible tonight. That would be at least a goal, have it all laid out, and then tomorrow we can just start prepping everything, start sanding a bunch, weld on what we need to, clean up a few things, and just get it 100% ready for paint. Start laying some paint on it on Wednesday, and then Thursday it should be pretty much almost ready, mostly dry at that point, and we can actually start installing all the parts and hopefully have it complete. But we never know what's gonna happen, so let's get to work on this thing. Let's start tearing this thing down. So I'll probably just set you guys up on a time lapse, and you guys can just watch me tear this thing down real quick. I'm just kind of starting from the top and kind of working my way down, and then once I get to like kind of the front and rear suspension, I'll probably rip the rear suspension off first, just because that's a little bit easier, and then rip off all the front, because you got the double control arm, shock, spring, got the steering and all that. So it's gonna take a little bit more time to get the front knocked out, but the rear shouldn't be too bad. But I think maybe an hour or two I can get this thing all knocked out, get her completely stripped down, and then tomorrow we can start working on all the little stuff, getting prepped up, and see what we get knocked out in today's video. So let's get to work on this thing, and enough jibber jabber. So catch you guys here in a little bit. So I had a second to actually kind of wipe some sweat off of me, because I've been dripping taking this thing apart. But finally got it all tore apart, as you guys saw, and got everything kind of laid out here as far as I want to tonight. I think I might still take apart a few things like the axle here and these front hubs, definitely, because I do want to paint these control arms up and maybe even paint the hubs as well. But I know I want to paint the wheels and just a few little bits like tie rods, this section right here, the steering shaft, and paint the frame, of course. And we gotta actually get this all cleaned up. So I think I really want to just paint the frame itself a really bright color, and then kind of paint all the accessories and stuff kind of just like a nice gloss black, maybe a flat black even, just to kind of give it that cool little contrast. And I was thinking like a nice silver paint job for the wheels, kind of give those a different look to it, especially since we got the completely gloss black engine with a few little matte black and kind of just matte black kind of areas all around. I think I got wrinkled black on the bottom there, so just a few little things that will kind of all tie it together, and I think it'll make the frame itself kind of pop a little bit more. So it's kind of my goal with this. So I think this is as far as I'm going to get to tonight. I think tomorrow we'll actually start tearing down the rest of the things like the control arm stuff, get the wheels pulled off of there, and I really want to start getting the work on the frame itself, because I still got to weld on a couple brackets, and this is probably going to take the most amount of time out of anything. And once I get the frame all finished up, I think we can start laying some paint on it. Once we actually get some paint on it, then let that dry for a bit, and we can start working on all the small little stuff. There's definitely a lot more stuff than I kind of expected to paint on this thing, but it's all fun of it. Luckily, I have a couple extra days because I can basically go till Sunday, but I would like to do it all in one video, but I'm not promising it. I'm not promising it yet. I think if anything, we'll at least get paint laid onto the frame, and then maybe start painting up a few of the small brackets and just kind of swing arm, control arms and stuff like that. But other than that, I think we'll mainly get the frame finished up, and then probably in the next video we'll start installing everything, because paint's gonna take a little bit to dry and all that. So I think that's gonna call it tonight. So I'll catch you guys tomorrow, and we'll get to work actually on the frame, getting it all cleaned up and prep for paint. What's up, guys? So it's the next day. Sorry for the noise from the AC. It's literally right outside the garage there, but we're back to work on getting the AT frame all ready for paint today. So that's kind of the goal by the end today. Have the frame completely ready to go and pretty much just get it hung up and start laying some paint on it tomorrow. So then give that some more time to dry, and then before we actually reassemble it all. But we've got a few things to work on first. So today I ended up running out, getting some more grinding wheels and sanding wheels, and then we got actually prep the frame completely, get that all looking nice, sand down all this rust and stuff. And you might see this big piece of metal right here. I picked that up as well, so we can actually get the seat mount all finished up. So when I actually built the seat, I didn't have any metal to actually mount the really weld onto the frame and then mount the seat onto. So I ended up just kind of pushing it off, and I still had the gas tank mounted up, so I kind of wanted to wait until I had that off and don't really want to blow up in the garage. So I picked up some metal today, and we're gonna get that all knocked out finally. So I think I'm just gonna chop them like 8 to 10 inch pieces, kind of like the same size as these two bars from the side to side. Kind of drill the holes, mount it up to the seat there, and kind of set it on and kind of where it's gonna be located. And then we can just throw a little quick tack weld on the bottom on each side, pull the seat off real quick, weld that all up, and then it should be the last little final welding project. Actually, he's gonna need to get completely welded. There's a few things I would still need to finish up. I know I need to finish a couple welds on the engine plate, just make sure that's all solid, and then just go around, make sure none of these welds are cracking on the frame and all that. Just make sure it's all cleaned up and prepped, and then we can start sanding this thing down completely, and she should be ready for paint by the end of the day. So I'm gonna get working on getting the seat all finished up, because that's gonna take a little bit, and then just sit here for the next couple hours with a sanding wheel and get sanding on this thing. I'm also gonna start chopping off a lot of these brackets I'm not going to use. So I've got these two on there. There's a few on the front here. I might even take like the VIN plate and stuff off, just kind of clean it all up. Brackets on here, and just all around, just kind of clean everything off, make it a bare frame as much as possible, only use what we're going to need, and get her all finished up. So let's get to work on this. Enough jibber jabber, and see what we'll get knocked out today. It's a few hours later. As you can tell, it is dark now. So I ended up starting to work on getting the seat all welded up into the frame, and just as I'm finishing welding the first bracket in, I ran out of welding wire, of course. And then I was like, all right, let me just spend the time then just sanding down the frame as much as possible. Went to install those new grinding wheels I got, and I bought the wrong size. So it's just not a great night tonight. So I ended up just doing whatever I can. I ended up already drinking, so I couldn't really run out to the store. So I ended up just sitting here grinding off all the extra brackets that I don't really need, and then grinding out all the welds as much as possible. So I got my whole pile here, everything all chopped off. So I think I'm gonna keep those two plates just for now, because I might want to reinstall those in the future. But for now, pretty much just gonna chop everything off and then get it painted up from here. So I just spent all the time grinding everything down, all the welds and everything, pretty much across the whole frame, except for the engine plate. I haven't touched any of that yet because I still need to weld some of that. So I ain't gonna worry too much about it. And I've been grinding with a bad grinding wheel the whole time, so it hasn't been the funnest, and it's definitely taking some time. So it is what it is. I got as much done as I can tonight, so tomorrow I guess I'll pick up some more welding wire and some actual right grinding blades and get this thing 100% prepped. I'm gonna be a day behind than I wanted to, but it is what it is. Just kind of rock out what you can do. So tomorrow, hopefully we'll get this thing 100% prepped up and ready to roll, and then we can start laying some paint on it on Thursday, because today is Tuesday. So I'll catch you guys tomorrow once I actually have the right tools this time, and we can get this thing 100% finished up and pretty much ready for paint. What's up, guys? So it's the next day again. Ran out, picked up some welding wire, and also got the right flap disc this time. So now we can get back to work on prepping the frame, finally get this thing ready for paint and start laying some paint on this thing. I'm hoping to at least start laying some paint on it first thing tomorrow, so then we can have some good time for it to dry, and actually before we reassemble it, and then it'll give me some time to start working on all the rest of the bits we got going on here. But I think I'm gonna start finishing up, getting all the welding and stuff done. Now that I got everything to really finish it up, I want to finish up getting that seat mount all done up so we can finally finish up pretty much all the welding. I got a little bit more welding to do on the engine plate there, and then just basically sit here with a wire brush and the sanding wheel and just go crazy sanding off all the rust, cleaning everything up as much as possible. And then I think I want to go around and just clean up some of these stock welds, because you might be able to see right here is a little pinhole, and then some of these little areas, they're kind of not really welded completely from the factory. So kind of just want to go around, stiffen everything up, make everything more solid. And you guys might notice I do still have the battery mount under the seat. I do plan on welding that onto the little brace I have going on here for the two front seat bolts. But I do want to put a battery in this thing in the future. I actually want to hook up electric start onto the motor and kind of make this thing pretty nice, have a nice electric start, and then maybe in the future hook up some LED bars, but that'll be in the future. So that's why I want to at least leave it there. So we're gonna get it all painted up, make it look pretty, and I still want it to kind of be accessible and not chop it out yet. So we're gonna kind of hold on to that for now, but let's get to work on this, see what get knocked out today. Hopefully I have this thing 100% ready and start laying some paint on it by tomorrow. What's up, guys? So it's the next day again. Sorry if this video is kind of a little all over the place, because I know it is. I'm just really trying to just get down to work, put the camera down, and get as much work done as possible, which I sort of did last night, but I kind of just called it quits to a point. So this is how the frame's looking right now. So I got the first piece for the seat all welded in, and that's solid now. I even welded it to the battery mount, so that's 100% solid now there too. I ended up throwing a rib nut in for the gas tank, so that's good to go now. Finished up the welds on the engine plate and fixed up a couple cracks I noticed on it, so got that all good to go. Grinded out a bunch of welds, and then really just sat here with the grinder cleaning up a bunch of the rust that was kind of just heavy rust on the frame, but we got it all cleaned up and she's looking good. There is still a lot of kind of just surface rust all around, but everything is solid, so I'm kind of just pushing it here. I was just so tired of grinding for like 3 or 4 hours yesterday, so kind of just put the grinder down and just called it quits at that point. It'll be fine. I already know this thing's gonna get beat to shit, and who knows, it'll probably get crashed at one point, so it's probably gonna get reframed eventually or just end up being another project. So let's just get some paint laid on this thing, get it all one color finally. And now that I'm actually gonna start laying some paint, I can reveal what color I'm gonna do with this. So if you're kind of looking around, you might notice what color I'm gonna do when I say bright color. So I am gonna be painting this thing yellow. It's just kind of to make it very bright and make it easy to see, especially in videos when I'm kind of filming stuff like this, because it's kind of hard to see a black frame whenever you're working on it. But I do plan only painting the frame itself yellow, and then I do want to do all the control arms and kind of the rear axle, swing arm, and then the engine's already all painted up gloss black. I want to do that all gloss black just to kind of have it that little accent color, and then I think I might paint the wheels a nice silver, so it'll kind of match the Yada I have over here. So that's kind of the goal. So let's get this thing all hung up. I kind of got my little paint set up in the back, my engine hoist and a tarp on the ground. So I'm gonna probably start laying some paint on this. I only have 2 cans of paint. I'm hoping that'll get me there, but I don't think so. I might have to run out and get some paint, which I'm really hoping I don't have to, but we'll see. So I'm gonna just start laying some paint on the bottom, get that all painted up, get that a nice base coat, and then I can flip it over, hang it up on the engine hoist, and just start laying some paint on all the inside bars and getting that all done. Probably just set you guys up on a time lapse, but you never know. So let's see. Let's get this knocked out, because it is Thursday right now, like 6:30, and this video goes out tomorrow at 12. So I want to get some paint laid on this for you guys today, and probably see next week's video or next Monday's video of actually getting all the suspension stuff all painted up and actually installed back on the bike, and that thing being 100% ready to go for Memorial Day. That's the plan. So let's get to work, get some paint laid on this thing, and stop jibber jabbering. All right, got you guys kind of set up like in the corner, kind of away so it won't get a bunch of paint all over the camera. And it might not be the best angle, but it's kind of what I can do with right now, because I have the next project we're gonna be starting sitting over there. So kind of want to hide that for right now as much as possible. That's why you haven't really seen it. I've had it for a little bit, but let's get some paint laid on this thing. I'll probably sit on time lapse and just get spraying away. You might see the engine hoist kind of in the corner over there, but I got some tie wire hooked up on it, so I'm probably just hanging it right there and just get all the spray paint done. Oh, this thing's some shit I forgot to install in there, but looking good. Hopefully this tarp doesn't blow away. I don't know if you guys have been able to see that really in the time lapse, but I flipped the thing over, hooked it up on the hook, and the engine hoist just wanted to go like that without the legs down. So I was trying to like hold the engine hoist up with it still hanging there and put a leg down, and the thing just ended up falling right onto the tarp here. So it wasn't too bad, but there's definitely a few spots like right there that got hit pretty good. It's really just the flat spots over here, so hopefully I can just kind of hit them again real quick and get laying some paint up on the top here and finally finish this thing up. Alrighty guys, so I ended up just putting the camera away because I kept covering it with a bunch of yellow overspray, so I didn't want to destroy my only GoPro. So I just ended up finishing up the frame real quick, and she's looking pretty dang good. I put a good, nice, thick, solid layer on it, just because you can kind of see behind me, it looks like it might rain here in a little bit, so I really want to get this thing finished up and back inside. So try not to show the next project, but she is looking nice and bright, so I'm pretty happy with it, and it looks pretty smooth for the most part. There's definitely like the spots where it used to be pretty rusty and stuff, but it is what it is. Most of this is going to get covered, especially with the control arm, suspension, seat, gas tank, and all that, so you really won't see it. You're going to see most of the main frame. Luckily, this whole front section looks really nice, so that'll really be like the main centerpiece in the front, so ain't really worried about it too much, but this is looking pretty good. So I really want to get this thing inside before it rains, so let's get this thing kind of figured out on the inside and see what we can figure out. So I got the frame pulled into the garage and kind of got it hung up kind of sketchily, but it's there. It ain't going nowhere for right now, so it's kind of got a chain going up to my garage door, and it works. It's got this thing floating, so I'm gonna just kind of let this thing dry for right now, give it a little bit more time to cure. Since though I already painted the bottom a few hours ago, that should be semi-dry for right now. I think I'm gonna set it down some wood just so it's not hanging right there and pretty much able to fall at any point. But this thing is looking good. I am stoked with how this thing came out, especially for me kind of half-assing the prep job. So I'm not complaining too bad. It's rough areas, but most of it's gonna get covered by like the engine right here, seat up here, gas tank. So I ain't really too worried about it right now, and I'm pretty happy with the progress so far. Now it's just working on all the small stuff, since we already got the engine all painted up. Now we got the frame painted. Now it's just working on the swing arm, control arm, steering, and just getting that all painted up gloss black, which should be super easy since everything's pretty much clean and not really too rusty, so shouldn't really need too much prep work, and we can knock that out pretty quick. So probably gonna start, I might try to work on that in a little bit after editing this video. We'll see how much time I have, but you never know. So I want to get this edited up real quick, and then hopefully soon we can start working on that and getting all the control arms painted up. And once that's all done, we can get it all back together, which you guys will probably see on Monday's video, so stay tuned for that. But hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, hope you like, comment, subscribe. Stay tuned for more content, and peace out.